A man was lost while driving through the country. As he tried to reach for the map, he accidentally drove off the road and into the ditch. Though he wasn't injured, his car was stuck deep in the mud. So the man walked to a nearby farm to ask for help. "Warwick can get you out of that ditch," said the farmer, pointing to an old mule standing in a field. The man looked at the decrepit old mule and looked at the farmer, who just stood there repeating, "Yep, old Warwick can do the job." The man figured he had nothing to lose. The two men and the mule made their way back to the ditch. The farmer hitched the mule to the car. With a snap of the reins, he shouted, "Pull Fred, pull Jack, pull Ted, pull Warwick." The mule pulled that car right out of the ditch. The man was amazed, thanked the farmer, patted the mule and asked, "Why did you call out all of those names before you called Warwick?" The farmer grinned and said, "Old Warwick is just about blind. As long as he believes he is part of a team, he doesn't mind pulling." That is not to imply that you are a mule or mule-like. But indeed, God has made us that when we feel we are part of a team, we're energized. So we want to inspire parents to partner with the school. We do not want parents to relegate their responsibility. Do we? Do we want them to relegate the education of their children to us? Or do we want them to delegate the responsibility? That's maybe a little bit of an abuse of the word relegate, but there is a definition that I think fits close enough. We really do not want our parents to drop off their children at the door and just say, "We're so glad for the school. We're going to relegate the responsibility to you." And then disassociate, saddle us with the responsibility, and then pick them up at the end of the day. We want them to delegate, but not relegate. But we can force them, if we're not careful, to somewhat relegate the responsibilities to us because of the lack of opportunity that we're creating for them. Teachers, we should be humbled that they even delegate the responsibility to us. And the longer I have taught school, the more that weighed on me. Because now I'm a parent and have children in school. And I trust the school, and I'm glad I can do that. But the weight should grow on us as teachers, that parents are willing to bring the children to school and then delegate the responsibility. Because if we make a mistake with their children, if we mislead them, if we misguide them, if we mistreat them, they're not our children. They are other people's children. And I think it should just impress on us every day the amazing gift that the parents are giving us by trusting us. If we're going to inspire the parents to partner with us, we must be humble in that responsibility and understand the weight of that responsibility. Now, do parents need to be inspired to partner with the school? See, we talk a lot about this, and I'm not being critical of the title. I just want to look at this from different angles. We talk about inspiring children to study. What do we do to inspire children to do their best? It's the most common question that I think I hear. There is that side, but there's also the side, what are we doing to hinder? Okay? So it's not just, we got to crank up this inspiration because, you know what, we assume that parents don't really want to partner with us. Well, see, we don't want to assume that. And now we got to somehow energize them and try to bring them along. They're busy, but, we just got to inspire them to partner. Yes, there are some parents like that, but there's also the other side of parents who want to partner, but maybe feel like they don't have the opportunity or the invitation to partner. So it's not just inspiring, it is also make sure that we are not blocking parent participation in school. Just like to think of it from both of those angles. this is an interesting, this whole discussion is interesting in lieu of what's happening in American culture today. There's a lot of discussion, isn't there, if you're up with the news at all. Should parents have any say in the school? Wasn't there a famous administrator who said, well, we don't work for the parents? Wow. So there's this tension of the school is an entity. It's a business. You send your children, now they're under our auspice, our direction, our authority, and parents, keep your distance. We really don't want to hear from you when you're not happy. Well, that's not a Christian model of education at all. We'll never inspire our teachers to partner if our attitude is, we have this program going here, and, we only want to hear how good of a job we're doing. We obviously, that is an attitude that I'm sure we do not have. But let's think of this a little bit from a couple angles. Are we sane? How should we feel about this? We have a school, a well-greased machine. We have a vision for our school. And now we want the parents to partner with us. That is true. But there's the other side of which we say the school is supposed to be serving the home. So now which way is this? Now, I don't want to create a dichotomy that doesn't exist, but we have maybe a tension would be a fair way to think of it. I don't think we have to have it either or. I don't want to create that. That either it's a school and the parents, come along with us, support us, or else the school just bows to the wishes of the parents and are just manipulated by the parents. But there is tension between this. The authority of the school, the authority of the home. Is the school serving the parents? Or is the school, well, here's how we do it. We're the professionals. We've been around the block a few times. Just come along, Just agree with us. I don't know how you see that. I think we see it from both sides, don't we? That it's a little hard for me to think through this. When parents aren't satisfied, we want to listen to that, and we'll get to that here shortly. At the end of the day, remember, the child belongs to the family, not the school. The heart of the child belongs to the family. So one way that I think about this is simply the circles of authority. We have the parent, certainly with authority over the child, the main authority in the life of the child. We, of course, have now, I'm just going to use T for teacher. We have the teacher's authority over the child, and we're just going to try to broaden this because this is how I think our schools work, the school board. Where's the student? I guess sort of trapped in the middle, huh? Here's the student. Sometimes the teacher is over him, sometimes the parent, sometimes the school board. How does this interplay? And I know I'm on the edges of this discussion, but my concern is if we don't think through some of these edges, we will destroy the inspiration of parents. And I think we just must be so careful to think about where are these lines of authority? Because we don't want to run our schools in a way that says, well, the child is here at school, this is our range of authority, this is our domain, and you parents we just inspire you to agree with us. Yes, teachers and school boards have authority over the child in relation to school, but the parents obviously have authority as well. So where we get frustrated and go off track is when we try to reach into each other's territory. When the parent tries to reach in outside of this circle, or the teacher tries to reach in here outside of their authority, or this goes in, of course, all directions. So how do we know where this stops and starts? Well, I think there's two words that at least help us think through this, and that's simply that responsibility is defined by authority. Responsibility is defined by authority. So if I don't have responsibility as a teacher over the student, then I don't have authority. I find this rather interesting to think about as a teacher. So that the child comes, they're in school, they walk out of the classroom, they're with their parents, and suddenly I'm not responsible for them anymore. You see them Sunday morning at church, I'm not responsible. Sometimes that feels good and sometimes it doesn't feel good. Why am I not responsible? Because I don't have authority. But when we start to reach in each other's territory, we destroy trust. And I really want to emphasize that tonight. If we're going to inspire parents to partner with the school, trust is just such a foundational part of this relationship between the two. And we can frustrate the teamwork when we start reaching in each other's territory, when the parent tries to reach in and correct things of the teacher that's outside of their domain, or the teacher to the parent in the home, and creates friction and destroys trust. And when trust is broken, well, of course, teamwork pretty much crumbles at that point. I'd like to think a little bit of perspectives before we look at a little more just some practical ways that we can do this. What are the perspective difference between the parent and the teacher and the school board? Because again, if we don't understand each other's perspective, the partnership just becomes a power struggle. And who finally can control who? And who's called to support who? I would like to read from Ephesians chapter 4, some of the most beautiful verses that talk about teamwork. Ephesians chapter 4, just want to read 3 or 4 verses here. Verse 11, and he gave some, thinking of this as giftings to the church, partnership, people that are supposed to partner together. He gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers. Why did God give these different gifts to the child? Thinking of gifts as people, parents' perspective, teacher perspective, school boards. Why did God give these different perspectives and call us to partner together? For, because, and it's answered so beautifully, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. And so what's this ultimate goal? Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. It is not so that our students grow up to be like us, or students grow up to be like a certain person other than Jesus Christ. So if we're going to partner well, we have to figure out, what are we doing anyhow in school? What are we doing? What's the goal? What's the goal of education? I'm not sure that we all even agree. We struggle to flesh that out, don't we? Like, so what do we want a graduating student to really look like? What if the parents don't agree with the teacher? We still call them to partner with us? So I just like to think of it this way. Thinking of those different gifts as the different people in the life of the child, the parent and the teacher and the school board. And here is the child. The parent's perspective, the teacher's perspective, and the school board's. We're all partnering together for the good of this child. But when we lose the focus of what the Bible says, that they grow up unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, when we lose that focus in our partnership of working together, we start pulling in different directions because our values and what we're really heading for is not the same. I think one of the greatest things that teachers need to think about, and that is the perspective of the parents. And the parents, the perspective of the teacher. Because again, if we're going to partner, trust is foundational, and trust is built on the conviction, on the belief that we understand each other, or that we're trying to understand each other. Now, I like glasses. I see a lot of glasses out there. Some of you probably have other ways of correcting your vision other than glasses. When I wear my glasses, I can see things clearly. I can see things as they are. I have a lot of confidence in these glasses. I put them on, and I look at issues, and wow, the clarity is amazing. I'm sure I'm right, because it's just clear. What creates my glasses? What shapes my glasses? Why do I see things the way I do? My concern, one of my concerns is, or thinking is, if we are going to ask parents to partner with the school, and the school is, yes, this is how it is. This is the values we want. We've shaped them. These are the needs in your child. We understand them. We've got some experience. We took some training. And we're overconfident in how we see it. We will lose the heart of our patron body. What shapes how I see things? Anybody want to say? I wish you would all be in a circle and we could have this as a discussion group. I'd feel a lot more comfortable. Yes. Very good. Our cultural background, our upbringing, our families, our churches. Yes, our background. You know, it's just impossible. I'm married. My wife is from a little different church setting than I'm from. We're married 27, right around there, years. You know, it shapes how we see things. It's a beautiful journey. But it is impossible for me to give my glasses to her and say, here they are, just see it like this. And it's impossible for me to take her glasses and put them on and say, oh, sure enough, that's how it looks to you. These glasses are tricky things. They're very personal. Our backgrounds. What else? Yes. This is a little disconcerting, though, isn't it? Because if you think of your life as a line, and here we go. Here you are right now. Do you think you see things better than you did 5 years ago? How many of you think you do? Your glasses are sharpened. They're better. You understand things better than you did 5 years ago. Raise your hand if you think so. Really? Well, how does that feel that if you continue, that in 5 years from now, you're going to look back to tonight and say, wow. Okay? I find that humbling to think of that. Because we have an incredible confidence of what we're calling people to partner with, our patron body. Here it is. 5 years ago, boy, I saw things different, but now I've corrected my vision. I've wiped the smudges off of my glasses. I have more experience now. Well, what's going to happen in 5 years from now? Aren't you going to do the same thing? So, a call to humility in how we perceive things, in how we are calling parents to join our vision as a school. Because we don't see everything correctly. We don't. Things look different from a teacher perspective than from a parent perspective. Someone has said every parent should first of all be a teacher. And every teacher should first of all be a parent. Well, this doesn't work both ways, obviously. I was a teacher, I believe, 4 years before I became a parent. Wow, things change. And just to kind of throw this in real quickly, if we take this child, what are the dimensions of a child? Well, there's the academic component, development of a child. There's the social, and there's the spiritual. I would suggest that while all three, the parent, the teacher, and the school board, all cares about all three, each one has maybe one of these that emerges as kind of the thing in their thinking. It's the weight. And again, I just want to emphasize this because if we don't think through this and try to understand this, our call to partnership will look very narrow-minded, will look very selfish maybe even, or arrogant. Anybody want to venture a guess? What would you say to the parent? I think of this as I see my youngest children going out the door. What is shaping my thoughts as my child goes out to school? out the door to school. Academic, social, or spiritual. All of them, yes, but which one tends to be, wow, this really matters? Some of your parents. Okay, and that's, again, we care about all, absolutely. And I'm not at all saying against that. Doesn't social just a pretty big deal? Is my child safe at school? Does my child fit in okay? Does the teacher accept my child? If you call your patrons to partner with you, and you don't love and accept that child, it's over. Haven't you seen this happen many times? I don't care how good your program is, it's over. The social is a really big deal. So think of it as my youngest is 8. She could be my grandchild. She's my dear little girl. And the youngest is 10. As they go to school, I'm looking at, how's it going to school? What about the idiosyncrasies that my child brings to school, or the habits, or the, what are they going to say? It's pretty vulnerable when they go out the door, right? You're out of control. Really are. Well, when my child walks into the classroom and the teacher looks at the child, what are they thinking? Oh, I hope he feels really loved and accepted today. What can we do to make him feel, valued? And, oh, yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, what do you pay your teachers for? Academics, right? Clearly looking at those children through a different lens than the teacher is. And the school board, maybe the spiritual, just is the curriculum safe? And are we hiring teachers who are qualified, and we want these children to model? Are these teachers models that they can follow, etc.? All right. Let's go on to a few more practical things. If we're going to inspire parents to partner, I'd like to divide this now into somewhat 2 categories. First of all, we must make it attractive, and then we must make it doable. We must make it attractive. How do we make it attractive for parents to partner with the school? And then, how do we even make this possible? Well, some of this does relate to what we've said. Parents must know that you want to understand their child. And if they feel like you have it already figured out, the school board, the administrator, what is wrong with their child, what the needs are with their child, it's kind of zeroing into when there's some challenges, the call for them to partner is probably not going to work. Stephen Covey, I'm sure some of you have read his books, says, seek first to understand and then to be understood. How many of you have ever gone to a seminar on how to be a good listener? I'd like to see a raise of hands. Not a single person. How many of you have ever gone to a seminar to learn how to be a good communicator? Really? So we are fixated on how to communicate well, how to tell people how it is, how to convince people. In other words, how to wipe the smudges off of other people's glasses. How to say how your glasses are so good and tell people that. Now, of course, when we're communicating truth, we want to be good communicators. But how often do we go into partnering with our parents, and it is this way. We want them to partner with us. And so if that's how we feel, the job really becomes of convincing them of the value of partnering with us. Because, after all, this is how it is. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. How much energy are we putting in our schools of understanding our patrons and understanding the heart of our children? I have so much to learn here. So often we go into calling the patrons to partner with us, and our goal is to lay out our program, to lay out how it is. Yes, we need to do that, but seek first to understand the heart of our patrons and the heart of the student. Then we win their heart to partner with us. Give them a chance to talk first. Maybe by the time they're done and we understand their vision or their perspective, we'll save ourselves some embarrassment. And we'll find out that some smudges were on our glasses. And we shift what we think it really looks like for them to partner with us. Because, what we were going to call them to isn't quite correct after all. When I think of this, sometimes I think of a student that I worked with extensively through the years. I learned that I could not take chalk off of the board and throw that in the waste can. You're throwing things away that you shouldn't. And this would be a dive for the waste can. Or walking outside, somebody would drop a chip and pick it off the ground and eat it. What, that thing's germy. So, do I need to go tell this parent what's going on? Your child is embarrassing everybody, embarrassing himself and sometimes embarrassing me. I need to cover for him. Can you teach him some manners? Can you teach him some proper etiquette? Or do I need to listen? So, what's happening here? Oh, okay. So the first 2 years of his life, he didn't know where his meals were going to come from. His older brother tried to feed him and take care of him. Oh, that's what's set up, that me against the world way of thinking. It just follows him. Doesn't matter if the house is stashed full of food. He still wants some food in his bedroom, just in case. Oh, clean my glasses. We're going to win the heart of the parents to partner with our work with a child. We must understand how they see these things, or we'll destroy it. We will hurt them. Parents are so sensitive to those issues when we're frustrated. When we can listen and seek first to understand, we win their hearts. Then they want to partner. Then it's not just about inspiring them to partner. It's a matter of opening the door for them to partner because, we're all headed for the same goal here. This teacher, this administrator, they understand my child. They care about my child. Rather than, well, the teachers are endlessly telling us how it is and how to correct these problems of which they really don't know anything about or minimally about. Secondly, in our partnership with the parents, a beautiful verse that says that our speech needs to be always with grace, seasoned with salt. I like salt. Who doesn't? Why do you use salt? Makes it taste a little better, right? I think about the only thing that cannot be redeemed with salt is liver. But almost everything else, if you salt it, it is at least, you can eat it. It's okay. So you can take something you don't even really like, salt it properly, and you can take it in and at least be okay. That's how it is with our words. If we put some salt on it, if it's with grace, it can be received, usually. And it says, always with grace. I heard somebody say one time, well, it's time to take the gloves off. Do you know what that means? Time to take the gloves off? No, it's never time to take the gloves off. The Bible says there isn't. I'm not saying that. That's what the Bible says. There's never time to take the gloves off. It's never time to bring a patron in that you're frustrated with who will not partner with you. And it's finally time to say it as it is. You know, we almost admire people who are just like brutally honest. You ever hear somebody talk about that? Boy, he's brutally honest. Just kind of like, wow, I wish I could attain to that. No, that's not Christ-like. I don't really think so. But let's not create a false, either it's this way, either you're an honest person or else you're not really an honest person. No. The Bible calls us to gently be honest, to kindly be honest. We must be honest as we partner with our parents. As we call them to partner with us, we must be honest. But can we remember how sensitive parents are? And the moment they smell frustration, the partnership's over usually. And I have just seen just so many offended parents, sometimes with tears streaming down their face. I think of one at a seminar I was talking to afterward and just saying, we don't know what to do. We don't know if we should move. Just the hurts, the frustrations. You know what it's like. How sensitive parents are when they feel their child is not loved and accepted. Again, these are just some baseline things that if we don't do and don't think about, our call to partnership will be frustrating. And we suddenly find ourselves lonely. We wonder why. Well, we didn't listen. We didn't care. We didn't really care about the child. We were maybe caring about our program, that we're proud of, maybe caring about how we pulled things together. We're calling them to partnership, but we're finding some resistance, some pushback. Never shame a child when you talk to your parents. When you're calling them to come to your side or to work with you, never shame them. We can do this pretty easily by just a voice of frustration. Do you know what it's like, especially teachers who call parents sometimes, or administrator? The hesitancy you hear the moment they hear it's you? You know what that's like? Yes, this is Anthony calling. Okay. Yeah. So when I'm calling a parent that it's not an issue of school, I like to always say, especially, the lady picks up the phone, hello, Millers, Nolts, whatever, Yes, hi, this is Anthony calling. Is your husband there? It's nothing to do with school. Oh, sure, 1 minute. Phew. I can hear it. I can hear it. Sure. Why? Well, not because they're afraid, hopefully, but because probably calling because, well, for a reason. Well, now, as a parent, I well understand this. It can be the nicest teacher. It can be the greatest teacher. Good relationship. Yes, I just wanted to talk about your child a little bit. Sure, go ahead. Yeah, of course, but it's right away. I hope it's not irritating. I hope it's not frustrating. And again, teachers have ruined the possibility of the partnership because the parents felt hurt, even if it was true about their child, about the needs of their child. The frustration, the irritation cut off that partnership. You might say, well, come on, really? Parents are so touchy. Well, teachers are pretty touchy too, aren't they? Yeah, we can't handle a lot going the other way either. It goes both ways. Seasoned with salt. It is one of the keys to partnerships and relationships. Make it attractive by being approachable. One teacher said, I wish the parents would know that we are as scared of them as they are of us. This was an experienced teacher. Some truth to that. But teachers must be approachable. See, some teachers, we would rather just avoid a lot of contact, right? We meet them after church, we say hi, but it's just easy to kind of slip away. Because, well, just because. Well, be approachable. In talking to them, be approachable. Just be okay with spending time with your patrons. Open the door to conversation. but just that sense of, I'm here to listen. I want to be approachable. Yes, I'm calling you to partner with us, but guess what? It's partnering with you as much as the other direction. So just simply being an approachable person. And it's painful when you hear of teachers or talk with teachers or patrons who say, it's just awkward. After church, there's just enough attention that, it's tension. This happens. I'm sure you know this does. Where the conversation, it's just an awkwardness because, things just aren't going the best. And there's hurts. They don't talk about it, but it's very, very definitely happens. It's visible, and you feel it. So make it appealing. Make it attractive to partner. And the keys are listening well, trying to understand them. When you do need to talk about hard things, you talk with grace. Being an approachable person who other people, the patrons, are willing to come and talk. We'll make it possible. See, now as a parent, it looks so different to me than it did as a teacher. Because we tell the parents, you should just come and visit. You should just kind of, just ask how it's going. Get interested in what's happening at school. Drop in anytime. Right? We feel that way. But now as a parent, it just doesn't look that way. See, I'm not teaching right now, so I'm not an administrator in the school for the last year and a half. I work for Christian Light. It feels a lot different. Now I walk into school and, I've been in this school for pretty many years. And suddenly, I feel like a stranger. It is a weird feeling, and it's good for me because I'm seeing things I never saw before. As a teacher, parents, drive by or pick up their children, drop in and say, oh, good to see you, come in, and it felt like it's, I'm easy making this possible to partner. Now as a teacher, a parent who's been in that school for many, many years, and my children go there to school, suddenly, it's just different. That's the nicest teachers. They don't want me to feel that way. And I'm learning what it feels like to be an outsider. You must make it possible as a teacher for them to partner. You must work hard to make it inviting and possible. You must open the door, not just expect that no news is good news and they'll come if there's a problem or if they have interest. No, you must work hard to create this environment where they feel invited in to partner. Just a practical way is send work home. I think schools are doing this more and more as I talk to schools and teachers. It should not be that your students in your school go week after week and the parents have no idea how it's going. This happens in some schools. When the report card comes home, after the first quarter, the parents open it up and, wow, I didn't realize all of this is going on. Whoo, Johnny, it's time to talk. Behaviors, minus, issues, this side, grades at, what's happening? Where's the partnership? Well, didn't really know if we should ask, shouldn't ask. Now, I know there's schools who online, they can go in and check out how things are going. I think that's starting to gain a little bit of traction, but many schools are not doing that, and maybe never will. Send work home. I like to call them Friday folders. It's a popular thing in our school. I love when they come home. Teacher sends them home every Friday with a sampling of the work. Nice little folder. Sometimes here's what to send back, here's what to keep. Some things need signatures, other times just papers to keep at home. It's a great idea. It's a way to tell the parents, we want you to know what's going on. We're not running this isolated program at school. No, we want you to know weekly how it is going, what's happening. And then we can put little notes, give a signature, we saw the papers, and return it. Just a very practical way to do this. Invite them into your school. Some schools really do well with this, and I do sit back and wonder, it's a cultural thing. Schools that have the parents coming in and doing things at school, and I see some of this as I get to visit school as a rep, where parents come in and contribute in different way. Probably one of the most powerful ways to partner. Mothers coming in, making food, maybe for the whole school, or running home ec class. Dads coming in, running shop, coming in and helping with correcting papers. Moms coming in sometimes, or coming in and just teaching a skill. Think of this, teachers. I think there's really some untapped resources in our patron body that parents would be glad to do if you would just give them the opportunity. It would just kind of open the door to, hey, this is not our program, and you're just on the outside. No, come in and just see what's happening. Maybe you're studying, just think of one example when we were studying some things in chemistry. And this happened to be a grandfather, but he worked for a company that did water softener company. Well, he came in and he explained how this works. Another grandfather came in who does a phenomenal demonstration of how electricity works and static electric. Students loved this. It was a way to just open the door and say, this isn't just our program. Come in and you contribute. See, do you understand how intimidating it is for parents to come in the door, especially to experienced teachers? Feel like they don't have anything to contribute? If you can open the door and invite them to come in, what are some interests? What are skills? Maybe one of the fathers is bees. It's a fairly popular thing to do, I know. But can you come in and talk about beekeeping, the beehives, and students find that fascinating. It tells the father that you can come in and contribute rather than feeling, again, so much on the outside. Make it comfortable to visit. I find this very interesting as I get to schools, and I know some schools are bigger than others. They have more patrons than others. I get into schools where maybe about this time of the year, there has been a grand total of 10, 15 visitors all year, according to the guest book. And others have 100. Yes. What a cultural difference. I mean, it's just parent, and they're there again, and others are visitors. They're in bigger communities. But some of these are parallel communities. And I'm just amazed. One school is creating the feeling, come anytime, drop in, bring a snack, or just come in and visit. We want you to see our program. We want you to be here. And the list of visitors is tremendous. And others, it just feels like they are having, it's what a lonely classroom it looks like. They just do their thing day after day. And parents, well, we can blame the parents. They're too busy. Whatever. There's some truth to that at times. But this is making it possible and inviting for them to come. I know there's cultural things there, but think about what can you do there. Parent-teacher interviews, I find to be another probably one of the most important ways to partner with them. And I'm sure you do that already. But make them meaningful. One thing our school has started to do is send out something to the parents. And we find this helpful. So we send out a paper before the interviews and saying, here are some questions we're going to ask you about your child. How they feel about school, relationally, workload, frustration at homework, etc. Here are some things we would like you to ask us about. And so it prepares the parents to come in and not just, oh, how's it going? Everybody's a little nervous here, especially new teachers, and it kind of gets quiet, and we're not sure who's supposed to talk. I know, interviews are tough, especially for new teachers. Very tough, and especially if you know this is a little harder parent. We found this very helpful. Give a paper that says some of the questions we'll ask and some things we would like you to ask us or be willing to talk about with a child. And then teachers follow through. I think this is maybe one of the places we drop the ball pretty quickly. So we talk about a need, they come in, we interview, we have these interviews, or we called, we addressed it, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, it just gets quiet. Well, is no news is good news? Or can we follow through? And I think we just need to pick up the phone more often in administration, boards, teachers, and call the parents. So a few weeks ago after church, we talked about a little problem. How's it going? That means so much to parents. It means that you didn't just go out and try to fix it and forget about it, but you're calling them to partner with you. You're calling them, I still think about this. I care about this. So when you address these issues, these challenges, whether it's just phone calls, after church discussions, or these parent-teacher interviews, follow through on these concerns. And so easy to just let them go, and the next quarter or half a year later, it's time for parent-teacher interviews, and that's right, you look at your notes maybe, we talked about this, we never picked it up again. Well, what does that tell your parents? Very quickly, can feel to them, obviously unintentional from your perspective, that, hey, we talked about it, and, again, it's that separation between how the parents see it and are experiencing this issue or need versus what you are. When there's trouble, let's be quick to offer to sit down and talk. Little problems, little solutions. And I'll probably say that tomorrow in one of the other sessions, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it now. Little problems, little solutions. When we're partnering with our parents, let's not wait until the problem is big. See, what happens so often is by the time we're willing to talk, the problem is no longer here. The problem is here. I just see this over and over again. Trust is broken. We just waited to partner with our parents until we had to. Well, now there's a lot of emotion on the table. There's a lot of bad stories, some gossip sometimes. And the focus is no longer here. It's, well, the tension has moved to this level. Offer to sit down and talk. I found this such a blessing over and over. It's hard to do. It's easier just to have our program at school and hope we can fix the problem. We call the parent in and we sit down, sometimes even bring the child along, depending on what the situation is, and just talk. That is the best thing we can do for our students because, again, this is not partnering to make us look like a professional, good, well-run school. It's about, are we discipling these children? And when we can get together as parents and teachers, board, and we focus on the needs of the child, that's what school is all about. And the children know that. We're on the same page. The minute they smell we're not partnering well, usually the school loses because the loyalty goes to the parents. Usually the school loses. So do what you can while you can to partner with them by sitting down and just talking, even if it's small. When we allow it to go large, it's very difficult to salvage. You certainly know that. All right. I've missed one little thing I was going to mention. Open house, I think, is another great way to partner. This is back a little more toward just opening the door. I don't know if you do that. Our school started that a few years ago. Just open house before school began. I know a lot of schools do that. And again, is another way to say our school is open. Come in and see what's happening. Visit the classroom. Come in with your children. Visit each classroom that they're going to be in, the different classrooms. Meet the teacher, especially when there's new teachers. It's a wonderful way of just creating a foundation of saying, this school year is about us together, focused on the child. This is not about our program. No, it's about opening the door where they feel welcome and invited to partner. Again, just in closing, I want to emphasize, because this is just on my heart so often. Teachers, your parents just must believe that you have the best interest of their child in mind. And they must feel like you are willing to listen. Because when we don't, the walls go up so quickly, and it soon becomes a power struggle between how you see it and how the parents see it, and the child, of course, pays the price so often for that tension. Well, may God bless you as teachers, administration, whatever your perspective is, whatever glasses you wear. Let's be humble with our perspective. Let's be willing to graciously change how we feel when we need to, and when we contribute to the discussions, that we can share that in a way that can be received from those we're helping.